Fuck it. So again, I haven't done this before. Nice keyboard though, thank you. It was expensive. That's the only thing I've actually thrown a lot of money in with accessories, to be honest. I played with one drunk at a bar once, and I was like, I'm getting that keyboard. So I went and bought it the next day. Hello, Outlandish. Can I get a finger heart? Yeah. I was trying to figure out which way to put the thing. Lord of the Rings. Yes, I love Lord of the Rings. This mouse pad's pretty fucked though. I need to get a new one. I need to replace it with a newer one. I had this really nice mouse pad, and I'm like, fuck it, I want this. All right, we'll just get straight into it. So obviously we're doing box openings. Just again, I don't know what I'm doing. So we've got all of these, which there's a fair few games in there, and then we also have the mystery box, which is this one. What is your desk? It's just a little shitty glass desk that my father-in-law had that I've taken off him. I literally have no room. Literally left and right from here is the end of my desk. So I got no room at all. But it's just because my setup's so small. There's not much I can do with it in the room that I'm in just yet. Imagine it was Hannah Montana. I'll actually fucking love that. We'll open the ones I've got first that I know I've bought, and then we'll move on to other stuff. This is a loose disc. I don't know if anyone can hear that or not. Which sucks. So let's just open that up first off. Oh shit, it's Immortals Aveum. Nice. So this is one of the Alphabet Challenge games. This one was redeemed by Dig. I got this one from CEX, obviously. This is the big ass dumbass sticker that they've put on it. I'm not quite sure why they do that or not. I thought it was Destiny. But it's not in too bad a shape. The disc was loose, which just sucks. It looks good though. Say hello to yourselves, chat. No, it looks good actually. I wonder if I should turn the top light on. The sun's gone down early today. But anyway, this game's meant to be really good and really underrated. It flopped really heavily. This came out the same month Baldur's Gate 3 did, so no one fucking played this game, in other words. And I think a COD came out the same month, and it just got destroyed. And yeah, so no one's played this. The Platinum's quite rare, so this is again, one of the later games we're going to be doing. Let's go. I'm saying hello to myself. Alright, that's the first one. Let's do the next one. There's another single game here. I'm not quite sure what these are, purposely. He's gone crazy. 2026 confirmed. What? What? You guys don't talk to yourselves? I do. Every day. That's how I get through my day. Oh, check it out. It's Burst Limit. I fucking love this game. I was talking about this the other day. This is actually one of my favorite PS3 games of all time, and one of my favorite games of all time. I had it on. I had this on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. 3 times each, actually. Funny enough, and just kept trading in like a dickhead, and then wanting it back. And it was a really rare game in Australia for ages. I love this game so much. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I've 100%ed this game. It's probably the first game I ever beat on the hardest difficulty. Actually, it's in extremely good condition too. I'm insanely happy with that. Yes, I do care about the casing and how it looks and stuff like that, but it's actually in amazing condition. I don't know who owned this before me, but thank you, sir. Fuck me. It's in great shape. So first time seeing this. Oh, true. I said hello to yourself, chat. Oh yeah, isn't that a retro game? It's a PS3 game, yeah. So basically, what I plan to do. Thank you for doing the shout out there. What I plan to do is to buy one game from the alphabet and what has been redeemed every month, and one PS5, one PS4, and one PS3 game that I also want on top of it every month. And this is the PS3 one that I saw. I think I got this for oh look, oh my god, look, it's got the manual. It's beautiful. Is it colored? Oh, it's colored. I'm such a fucking nerd, dude. Check it out, it's colored. Oh my god, I'm so happy about that. I haven't had a colored manual in forever. Holy shit. Look at that. It looks sick. I'm actually so happy with that. The disc looks amazing too. Dude, I reckon this is a brand new copy, and like it's just been unpackaged by someone and never actually used. Thank you for doing the shout out there. Oh, I reckon it is. I reckon this is a brand new. This hasn't been used. There's not a mark on it. I don't know if you guys can see or not. This hasn't been used at all. Oh, there's Luffy. Lol. But yeah, this hasn't been used at all, which is pretty incredible. Especially how old the game is. I think this came out in like 08, I think, off the top of my head. Yeah, this one was $20. Oh yeah, Immortals Avium was $30, I'm pretty sure, and this one was 19 or $20. This one, so I'm really happy with this. It's a game I've really wanted for a long time. I'm sorry if I ramble, but I really do get excited about this stuff because I'm an idiot. This is another one. I don't know what this is, but this box looks crooked as fuck. Looks like a crooked freaking pancake or some shit. Ramble all you want. I don't know. I might actually have to... Where'd that knife go? It's just fucking... I've got my shark knife too. This is my brother's-in-law's, this one here. The fish knife, anyway. Be a nerd, Purge! Be a nerd! What's this game? Oh, Chivalry 2! It's actually Day 1 edition too, which is pretty insane. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, was it gonna... Maybe I might need to turn the light on. Maybe I will try it, I'm not sure. But yeah, Chivalry 2. I was really, really excited for this game when it came out, because me and my mates actually, on the PS4 with juggling as well included, I played 200 hours of Chivalry. On, like, the original game on PS4. We played, like, 200 hours of it. It's one of the, like... You can try it, yeah? Hang on. Oh, yeah, that is a bit better. Yeah, we'll do that. Sorry, guys. It's gone really dark outside all of a sudden. I'm not sure what the hell's going on. Must be a storm coming. But yeah, this is multiplayer only. This isn't multiplayer only game, yeah. I remember playing... I bought this Day 1 digitally, and I've never been able to get it physically, because it's just always been so expensive, and it finally dropped the other day. The case is in pretty rough condition, and I bet you this is a second-hand case, and it's not the real one, by the looks of it. Yes, it is. It's a UK copy. It's a US copy, so I think this one. You can see it's got the code there. I doubt the code works though, but if it does, I'll probably cry. Oh, yeah. This has seen some use though. There's like a lot of smudges and stuff on it. Not that you can really see on my camera. My camera's not that good, hey. But yeah, cool. I'm really happy with that. I might replace the case on it. I do have a couple spare games that are fucked, and I'll just I'll get a different case for it. But this is like easily, in my opinion, one of the best multiplayer games ever made. I'm being dead ass when I say it. I think everyone should play this game. It's hilarious. It's hard, but the whole point is it's janky and hard. That's what's funny about the game, because it's ridiculous. Every once in a while, you'll meet someone who's an absolute god player at it, but they've been playing since like Day 1 of the original game, so I always recommend this one. But I'll probably make this a community game eventually. I do want the platinum for this, and I got a really bad feeling the servers will go down in the next year or two. And it is crossplay, but the party crossplay doesn't work, sadly. I've got no clue why they haven't done that yet. I love Fallout. Sadly, the PS2 game isn't canon anymore. Oof, I'm sorry to hear that. Did not know about that. I think this has got 2 in it. This one here. This is such weird packaging. It's so fucking crooked, man. What are you gonna do? We'll get the fish back. But yeah, if anyone ever sees Chivalry 2 for sale, please buy it. It's so good, and you can play with me. And I want to make it as a community game eventually. I played it a fair bit on stream, actually. It's one of my comfort games, so... Oh, I think this is damaged. Shit. This is in rough shape, but this is Dragon Age Inquisition. This one was redeemed by Hex as a standalone game. Sorry, let's put this aside for now. There's 100 hours to do this one. There's actually an 8 out of 10. This is a brutal platinum to do. You got to beat the game in the hardest difficulty, and it's just fucking crazy. Hex's favorite game, right? I think this is pretty high up there for him. It's in pretty rough shape. This has been pretty worn, which sucks a bit, but what are you going to do? I actually had this game, played like 50 hours of it, and traded it in one day, but I accidentally did. I actually put it in a pile of trade-in games and didn't realize, and got rid of it, so I'm really glad to have it back, to be honest. The disc is Australian, which is good. No manual, which kind of sucks. It's a nice disc, actually. I like the dragon on it. This disc is also quite worn. Someone needs to learn how to pick up a disc properly, because fuck me dead, there's fingerprints all over it. Oh, you can see it this time. But what are you going to do? No, you know. But cool, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm excited to play this one. It's really brutal. We're going to beat that on the hardest difficulty straight away too, I reckon. Not play normal then hard, which is the stupid way to do it, but I don't care. Here we go. It is Spicy's game, Scarlet Nexus, on PS5. This one was actually hard to track down and has become extremely rare. This is a day one PS5 game. Not a lot of people know about that, but this is one of the... I think this released a day before the PS5, actually, which is pretty crazy. And not many people have played this game, but Spicy said it's good, but not a lot of people talk about it at all. It is a very worn case. It looks a bit waterlogged, which is... The art's a bit stuffed. I don't know if anyone can really see that too well, but it's, you know... I apologize. I'm still trying to figure out the direction. But this one has replaced Star Ocean in the Alphabet Challenge. So this will be the S that we've got going for it. I think it's around 40 to 60 hours and a 2 out of 10. So it's nothing too hard, but apparently it's really fun. And 2 is coming out soon. Hey, I did see that. Yes. Oh, nice. We got the Funimation. I do like these too. I'm not going to lie. I'm a big slut for these. The Scarlet Nexus, like... Any type of like thing like brought in like with like a docket or a piece of paper, I don't care what it is. I like it. I got excited when I bought a VCR of Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring, and they had an advert inside of it for the PS2 games, and I literally lost my shit when I saw it and bought it right then and there because of just the advert. Basically, I also wanted it, but. This has also got finger marks on it. Jesus, bro. What are these, all from the same people? But the disc looks good apart from that. Honestly, it is literally impossible to fuck up a PS4 or a PS5. PS4 or PS5 game. You could literally put a steak knife across the disc. I don't think it'll still run. And that's the best part about, like, with the digital stuff. I know it's annoying, but your discs don't break anymore. I haven't had a disc not work on a PlayStation in like probably 15 years at this point, probably longer now, actually. I think the last one that was really bad, 360 was shocking. I don't know if anyone remembers that generation too much, but that shit was, if there was a fucking smudge on it, it would not work. It was like one of the most annoying systems I've ever had for discs not working. But there were a cheat. I don't know if people know this or not, but if you installed the disc on the Xbox 360, even with a scratch, or literally like I had one that had like nearly a snapper in it, it would still run because you download the base of it and it'll break. So what I did was I borrowed my mate's copy of Modern Warfare 3, installed it, and then my broken disc worked from then on, which is pretty insane that was never really talked about much and not many people tend to know about it, but yeah. And you move this 360 over there, it'd be a scratch the shit out of it. Oh my god, it was so loud. It's such a good system, but holy crap. This is a big one. I don't know what they were thinking. This does have bubble wrap in it. I don't know what's in this. I'm not going to lie to you. I've had a pretty full-on, like, 2 weeks. Hey, kittens. How's it going? And hello, everybody. I apologize if I've missed anyone. Like I said, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm a bit nervous. It's been 2 weeks, so I can't even remember what I ordered. Because I was pretty stressed when I ordered a lot of these games, so I'm just doing what we can. I'm not sure about the paper, by the way. I think it's a bit shit. Oh, it's not bubble wrap even. It's like this crap. I don't know if anyone's seen this before. This is such shit, bro. And it's double layered though, which is pretty sick. I'm a big fan of that. Jesus, dude. It's like freaking army mesh. Did you get my redeems? Your redeems? Which one? Yotai I haven't gotten yet, no. And Watch Dogs 2 I have to order this week. I'm doing okay. That's good, fam. Oh, nice. Yes. So this game was actually supposed to be redeemed by John. And he changed his mind at the last second. So I bought this, and yeah. I was pretty certain he was going to do this to torture me. Oh, you can see that still. Yeah, he didn't. It's actually a really nice copy. I'm really happy with it, funny enough. I was really worried about this being destroyed. And it's not like a Game of the Year edition or a day one, which I'm really happy. I like the clean copies, so I'm really, really happy with this. But yeah, Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. This one was supposed to be redeemed. This is a 9 out of 10 and 250 hours for a platinum on this game. This game is brutal as fuck. I think Rikoi... Have you played this yet before, Rikoi? You might want to play this if you haven't. I think you would enjoy this. This is a really cool game. The pattern in that paper is triggering me. It's stressful to touch. It's so triggering. But I'm pretty happy with that. Oh, nice. So it's actually the Australian disc as well with PAL. It doesn't matter really. I don't really care too much if it's PAL or it's not. I'm fine with whatever. Nice disc though. I like it. I played some of it. You're going to hate that. Oh my god, this disc has seen some better days. Holy shit. It's definitely been used quite a lot. You can't see all of it, but there's little dents and stuff in it. As I said, the game will run. It really doesn't matter. And to be honest with you, I have this digitally. But I want it physically. And there's a big trend with a lot of these games. I own them digitally, but I want them physically as well, so I've bought them again. But I'm actually really happy with this copy. The art's really nice. Probably would replace the case if I could, if I care about the game enough. But we'll see after I finish it. That looked kind of dirty. It was quite dirty, that disc, sadly. Hey, Cheska. But yeah, hopefully this is good. I'm hoping John actually redeems this. If anyone doesn't know, I only say this a few times because I like to surprise people. But I actually refund everybody's first platinum redeem and don't tell people. So John hasn't realized that yet, as of just yet. So yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, so... Wow. This is a fake cover. And I'm shattered about this. Because I was really excited for this game. But this is Final Fantasy 15 Day 1 Edition. And I bought this. And I don't know if anyone can see or not. But it's fake. I don't know if they realized it or not, but you can see the smudges in it. I don't know if you guys can really see it on your side, but it is definitely a fake copy, which is absolutely... I'm actually shattered about this. I'm not even going to lie. This is the first bad copy I've had of a game, but this has clearly been printed and is blurry as hell, and I'm fucking not happy. I mean, look at that. Yeah. This is a fake copy. And especially since this as well. The only thing I can really think of why this is like this is because it's come from maybe a special edition, but it hasn't. It's also a fake Blu-ray case as well. It's not a real PlayStation case either. This is probably one of the newer Blu-ray covers, so it's not real. I'm actually shattered about this. I will be ordering another one of this. I'm not going to lie to you. And it doesn't say day 1 on the side either, which says it all, to be honest with you. It says day 1 on these. I didn't even... so I'll order another one of these, and I will be emailing them and asking them, I got a fake cover. Please send me a fucking real one. I'm a little bit annoyed. But yes. Can you get a refund? I can get a refund, but I don't. I'm just a bit like that. The disc is fucked as well. Sadly. It would be something about, basically, I would say, they'd be afraid sometimes to sell a UK copy of this game in Australia, but they sell the disc as well. But the biggest thing about this, because this is a different region, this has a different trophy list in it. And this is the main reason. So I think this will have a different trophy list in it. I need to load this up and see. So this is actually a really big buy, funny enough, because this is massive. Interact room reveal. Yeah, I've just got what do you call it? I don't think I've shown you guys before. Where are we? It's just like I got like Luffy on the wall, and then fucking my brother drew a photo for me on Christmas. That's all that's up there on a pinboard. And then there's a Tokyo Ghoul poster. But anyway, so this is a different trophy list. So this is actually a really big. I'm really, really happy with this, actually. At the same time, I was pissed off because this has a different trophy list, so I can platinum the game twice, which is what I've been wanting. But I was actually going to buy this separately. I'm currently hunting down the Japanese version. I don't know if anyone saw it on the throne or not, but I'm going to go buy that at some point. But yeah, God, sorry. But yeah, this is disappointing. I'm shattered about this. This is especially since it's my favorite game of all time. To get the wrong one is to be the only one that was wrong as well is really shattering. Oh, here we go. This is another one. Funny enough, I need to replace this. This is Memories Retold. So the biggest thing I fucked up with the alphabet challenge is you actually need to start with a symbol or a number, and I didn't because I'm an idiot. So this one was recommended by email that was going to redeem this, and it's 1111 Memories Retold. So this is the game we're going to be actually playing first for the alphabet challenge, and I've heard some really, really, really good things about this game. It's a storyline game. This is another one I'm pretty sure released at a time where something else dropped, and it just flew under the radar, as games do. But I've heard extremely good things about this game. It's a very weird disc. It's got 3 classifications. It's got a code in there as well. I'll take that, I guess. It's got the old digital thing, I'm pretty sure. Do you guys remember that when they used to do like for Blu-rays and stuff, they did like the digital copy, the physical copy? It's not too bad, the disc. I'm pretty happy with that. This one, sorry, I should be saying the prices actually. I'll say the prices at the end. How about that? But this one's I'm pretty happy with. But as you can see, they've stuck this on. This is an old shitty cover. So I'll replace this with a new cover and put it on the shelf. But yeah, I don't mind if they say the wrong classification on it at this point, because Australia doesn't get enough games anyway, and our classification system fucks everything up, so it's easier just to buy my own copies, like to just mix them. I've got them in alphabetical on my wall anyway. Okay, and the next game is Monster Hunter Wilds. This is actually a brand new copy, I reckon, by the looks of it. So this is our next community game. This was redeemed by Blaze. I've never played a Monster Hunter game in my life. I've never played an MMO game in my life. So this is going to be extremely interesting. It's about 120 hours and a 6 or 7 out of 10, I believe, off the top of my head. It is considered lower, but if you're not familiar, it is apparently really, really difficult to do. I'm really happy with this copy as well. This is a really, really nice copy of the game. I'm extremely happy with this. It has dropped in price astronomically recently, so it should be interesting. What do we got? No case, and it is also a UK disc again. Well, it's a US and UK. Look, they got the 2 classifications again. There must be a new thing they're trying to do with some of the PS5 games to like help with it, but looks pretty good. I'm pretty sure it's a brand new game, except someone decided to put their fingerprint on it. Tell you what, someone had an off day packaging this, but that's all right. But yeah, really nice. I don't mind the disc either. It looks all right. Quinowin doesn't have any leaflet. It sucks sometimes. I at least like the advertisement ones, at least, but maybe I can eventually be able to collect something. But yeah, this is definitely a brand new copy, which is interesting as well. The case itself is a bit dirty, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if they replace some of the cases for some of the more expensive stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. But that'll be the next community game if anyone wants to join in. If you've never done it before and want to give it a go as well, do please. And yeah. Oh, nice. This is it. Shadow of Mordor on PS3. This game case is fucked. This has also been well worn in for sure. This is one of my favorite games of all time on the PS4. I've platinumed it twice now. There is only 3 versions of the game. Actually, no, that's a lie. I've platinumed the normal edition, Game of the Year edition, a different version as well, and then so I've platinumed it 4 times, and this will be my 5th because the PS3 version has a completely different level of this. If you plan to buy this on the PS3, don't. It is a piece of shit. it is at the time of PS4 where they were just completely useless and decided to cut as many corners as they can to save and make money. So it is the biggest waste of time ever. Please do not buy this on the PS3. I'm doing it solely because I want the platinum. And I also have to do a speed run where I'm going to try and get the fastest time on this game. I reckon I can do it in probably 9 hours, which is quite quick for the platinum. No leaflet, so I'm pretty sure this does come with a booklet as well, so that sucks. The disc looks really nice. I'm a big fan of the disc, actually, on the old PS3. There is another fingerprint. This one's been used quite a lot. There's a lot of scratches on it. Again, I'm sorry you guys can't really see it or anything. Say hello again. But that's okay. What are you going to do? That is all the games that I bought, actually. So, I bought... How many games did we buy? Quite a lot, actually. But yeah, bought all of these. I'll just do it this way, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I bought 10 on the dot. What are the chances of that? So these are all redeemed. Well, mostly of them anyway. So there's a few in there. So Burst Limit I wanted for myself. Final Fantasy 15 I wanted for myself. And Shadow of Mordor. As I said, I'll be buying 3 games that I want every month. And the rest are basically redeems on all the different types of platforms. I'm sorry, I've also gotten Chivalry 2 there. I think I cheated and got Shadow of Mordor and Dragon Ball Z. Shadow of Mordor on the PS3 was $5. Monster Hunter was $29. Memories Retold was $18. Final Fantasy 15 was $12. Witcher 3 was $5. Scarlet Nexus was $30 or $40. Dragon Age Inquisition was $10. Chivalry 2 was $8. Burst Limit was, I think, $30. And Immortals Avium was $20 as well. So, I think... I'm not going to lie. I think about $150 to $180, including shipping, for all these games. Yes. Quite a lot. That's in Australian as well. Just don't forget that as well. Like in US, it's a lot cheaper, and in pounds and stuff like that. It's because it just sucks here. It's expensive to deliver stuff. It's expensive to buy stuff. It's just how it is. But I will be collecting a lot more games. So, as well, this next thing, as I was saying this the other day, this is a mystery box. This has 5 to 10 different games in it. I don't know what they are. I don't know what platform they're from. I don't know what the value is on them. All I know is I paid I think it was $75 for this, and that doesn't include delivery. And all I've been told is they promise that it'll be more valuable than the $75 I spent. Yeah, I saw someone a while ago. One of the YouTubers I've been watching again. He did a lot of these mystery boxes a few years ago. And I wanted to give it a go because he looked like he had so much fun with it. And I want to increase my collection as well with random shit, not only just stuff I want and redeems. So I was like, fuck it, we'll give it a go. I also plan to cut down on my drinking, so I thought I'll cut out drinking at least once a week to be able to afford one of these because I nearly spend $80 of alcohol every week anyway. So I'll buy one of these once a month with my with that. Where'd you get that from? So on eBay, just a guy that basically bought them. How do they profit, though? I don't know, actually. I've never thought about that, really. I don't know what's in this, so I'm just going to open this. Oh, my God, I think... Right, here we go. I'm not going to look at the boxes as I pull them out, so I'm going to literally pull it out in front of you for the first time and have a look at them. So this first one is... Oh, shit, an Xbox game. What the fuck is this? Still Life? What the fuck? I was not expecting that at all. So an Xbox game straight off the bat. Wow, it's 18 plus as well. This is an R-rated game. So this is definitely not from Australia because there's no such thing as an 18 plus game in Australia until like, well, very late on. God damn, what's that? It looks like a horror game. It does look like a horror game. Producers of Siberia 1 and 2 and a proud friend Still Life. It is a serial killer trying to chase you, apparently. I'll need to ask email about that because he probably knows about that. I assume just from lots of buying. I'd say so. Oh, it's in very nice. Look at that. It's got like the it's got the manual. I like the disc as well. The disc is in great shape. Wow, look at that. It looks amazing, actually. Oh god, the old Xbox did. Oh, it is not in good shape. The disc is fucked. I think this has been cleaned up, actually, by the looks of it. But it has been destroyed royally. Look at that. Holy fuck, dude. This has definitely had, like, the old toothpaste on it. This has been cooked. That's okay. I don't have an Xbox anyway, so I can't play it. And I doubt this would work on the 360. But this is really cool. I'm really, really happy with that. I wonder, does it have colored art in it? It does have colored art in it. Oh, it's definitely got, like, that Resident Evil steel type thing, too. Look, it's got, like, the whole sorting system in it as well. It is colored, though, which is really cool. I really was not expecting that. Oh, my God. That is a very revealing start to that controller. This is sick. This is a really nice manual. I haven't got many Xbox games, so this is really cool. I'll get an Xbox at some point. But, yeah, this is really cool. I really wasn't expecting an Xbox game straight up. This is sick. Wow. I don't know how much this would be. I might search up later and put it on. The case is a bit cooked, but again, this I don't think is going to be playable anyway. As I said, I'm pretty sure this isn't an Australian version of the game. But yeah, cool. That's one game. I'll pull out the next one. We play! Oh, I'm definitely going to get scuffed here. Wow. Actually, we don't have this, and I actually love this game. I don't know if anyone played this on the Wii, but this game was great. Some of the mini games were awesome. The tank mini game is hard as fuck in this, and is so much fun. It's a shitty little game, but it's cool. It is cool. It came with some of the Wiis later on. This was more of like a demo type thing that started to come with some of the later Wiis, and then you had to buy it at some point as well. This is pretty cool, actually. This is a pretty good game. I actually don't mind this at all, but it is still... Look at the disc. Nice. And it's got a manual as well. We'll take that. I don't think it's going to have anything. Oh, it does have a colored manual. Look at that. Cool. I like the orange disc. That looks fucking sick. And it is dirty as hell. So this person does nothing clean it. I will clean these up myself anyway. Don't worry about that. He said all of these are playable, so he has tested every single one of these. So I'd say he's done some cleaning to some of them. I did love the Wii as well. What a great console. Funny enough, I didn't get a PS3. I got a Wii. I haven't talked about this much before, but I got a Wii first, and I played a Wii until I was like 14 is when I got a PlayStation 3, basically. I did have a PS3 at the time, but then when my dad moved away, obviously I lost the PS3. So, but yeah, I mainly played the Wii most of my younger life, and on the DS. I had a PSP as well, which was PSP is amazing, but yeah, cool. Wii play. All right, next one. Oh my fucking god. I have this game. I forgot to put a poll in to say, will I get another game we have? We actually have the special edition of this game, funny enough, though. This is actually quite a pricey game. This is about 25 bucks, actually. I'm pretty actually surprised about this. I actually don't mind having 2 copies of this, because it is 2 different versions of it. And it looks like the expansions come with this one as well. This is definitely not a better copy than what I have there, I'm not going to lie. But it's still nice. Hello, Spartan. No manual. The disc is good. And the disc looks really good as well. I'm really happy with the quality of that, actually. I think this is a replacement cover. This doesn't look like an actual PS4 case. I don't reckon it is. I reckon this has been replaced, so I reckon at some point it's been damaged. But cool. Box openings, yeah. Cool. So that's 3 games so far, so we should at least have 2 more, guys. 2 more. I'm praying we have more than that, though. What the fuck? Oh, is this... Oh, what is this? Oh, what is this from? Oh, I can't remember. It's vintage. It's a... shit. Oh, I can't remember what this console's called. Atari, it is too. It's from the original Atari, yeah? Wow, I wasn't expecting this vintage of a game. It's in obviously crazy, like, bad shape, but it's International Edition Boxing, which is pretty sick. It has taken an absolute beating, but for how old it is, that's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of that. Like, look at that. That's so cool. That's actually awesome. I was like, what the fuck is this when I grabbed it? That's amazing. but this is definitely what was like swishing around in the box. I don't know how much this would be or anything like that, or whether it would be worth anything at all, but I really wasn't expecting this. I've never seen an Atari game, I don't reckon, in person. So this is really, really cool for me personally. It's a 2600, there you go. 50 years old? Holy shit, yeah. I've never seen one of these in person, ever. Like, ever. My family were big on games, but not that big, so a lot of their consoles they threw out or got rid of. My dad's the one that hoards most of his consoles before, as he got older. But that's really cool. Wow, looks like even Activision, like, literally inscribed on the back of it. That's so sick. 1980, goddamn. Wow, I really wasn't expecting that at all. All right. Oh, I reckon we have 2 more games. Oh, a DS game. Oh, it's Tron. Oh, wow. What the fuck? A DS game? I was not expecting this as well. Wow. This is insane. I really wasn't expecting. This is actually such a variety. So it looks like they're going to choose a different generation for all of them. I'm actually really happy with that. I always remember the story of ET game cartridges where they dumped millions of copies in the landfill. They're still there to this day, apparently, Spartan, I've heard, which is pretty insane. This is pretty cool, though. Wow. I wasn't expecting this, a DS game. You rarely see these in Australia anymore, like, ever. And even then, we didn't have a lot of games back in the day at all, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's just never been a thing, sadly. Well, wow, it's got the manual and everything, too. Wow, it looks incredible. It's even got the old Game Boy cartridge in there, too. Man, I love the game too much. The excitement and quick disappointment of Tron. Yeah, wow. I'm actually ecstatic about that. This is cool, though. I was expecting something, like, insane, obviously. It's a colored manual, too, which is crazy. I was happy and excited because I was actually going to try to get this on the PS3 because Squiggles actually got a copy of this on the PS3 and there's multiplayer trophies for it, and I was going to try platinum it. But yeah, this is really cool. I really wasn't expecting this. Now, I'm kind of hoping for a PS3 game here last. I don't know what it's going to be, though. But yeah, wow. That's actually, like, it's a nice cover. Actually, the cover's pretty cool. I'm pretty impressed with it. It's in very good shape, too. All right, let's have a look. Oh! GT5. I already have this game. Damn it. This is the collector's edition, though. Holy shit, actually. I don't have the collector's edition of this game. Actually, funny enough. Does this come with Bathurst on it? One of them does. I can't remember if this one does or not. Yeah, wow. I have the original version of this game. My dad is a massive Gran Turismo fan and has played the first one the whole way up to the newest one. I bought the newest one for him the other year. It's one of his favorite games of all time, and it's one of the only times I've ever been really able to bond with him is over GT. I've tried really hard to get into it. I suck at racing games, but I've played hundreds of hours of them. Like, I've really grinded it. Gran Turismo Sport's the most I ever played. I played for 80 hours in, like, 2 weeks, trying to get good at the game and trying to get my dad to play the game, and he just wasn't interested with the online aspect, sadly. So I didn't end up playing the game with him, sadly, in the end. But I played the newest one against him. I need to get back on it as well. I actually want to get the platinum for that as well and beat my dad's ass on it. It's in great shape as well. I'm not going to lie. It's actually in, like, insanely good shape. I don't know whether we're going to have all the special edition stuff in it. But yeah, cool. Let's have a look. So, the disc looks crisp. I'm going to pull that out straight away. The disc looks amazing. This looks brand new. This looks brand new. This disc looks actually brand new. It is brand new. This has not been used. This game has not been played at all. Wow. I was not expecting that. This PS3 has not been used at all. Like, this is actually insane. And that's very unoften that you find PS3 games. It's got the manual, which is amazing. The manual looks actually great. Yeah, nothing much really in it, to be honest with you. This is when they started to really get rid of a lot of stuff, sadly. And then there's 2 vouchers as well, but Gran Turismo... Oh, there's a theme? Cool. I might try claim this, actually. And it expired in 2012. I'll go fuck myself. That sucks. But these are super cool, and I'll still keep them in here. I like the 5 that's in it too. But yeah, this is actually a really, really clean copy. I'm actually ecstatic about this. I reckon he's actually put this in here. And the original one might be stuffed, sadly. Clean. Yeah. Hate on Didge. I hope you're doing well, fam. I love the DS. It's easily my favorite console as much as Xbox PlayStation. I had fun on the DS. The DS was amazing, and so was the PSP. Two really, really good systems. Who was I talking to the other day about this? But if they brought the DS back, it would still sell so well to this day, especially since it's been so long since they released one. It would do absolute numbers if they released it again. Like no cap. It would be amazing. And I hope they do. This also had 3D. I don't know. I forgot about this era. Does anybody remember when they were doing the 3D stuff on games and stuff and like DVDs, TVs, everything? And I forgot about video games actually having it, but this one had 3D mode in it. So you can actually play this on a 3D TV. And I heard it's pretty insane. Now, 3D TVs in Australia were just like 10 grand, so you'd never fucking see one. One of my mates had one once and then broke it with his Wii. So, yep. He threw the controller straight through it. But I've heard really amazing things about the 3D games. Green Lantern's another one recently I heard about. Apparently these are really good in 3D. And there was actually a there's a 3D Sony TV, which is amazing. And it's built mainly for the PlayStation 3, which is pretty cool. And yeah. Pretty impressed though. Anyway. When I said 3D, that's why I thought about that. And that's it though. So, yeah. My sister found my old 3DS and she said she'd keep it. She can get charged up and working. Sorry, I'm just going to mute my phone. It's going off like crazy. Looks like some type of transfer happened or something. That's sick though. Charged up and working. You were talking to me, lol. Oh, doing well, man. Have I missed much? Yeah, sadly you missed most footage. Batman Arkham Asylum. We had many 3D movies on disc. Oh, really? You still have one? Apparently they're really good. They still run quite well to this day as well. I've heard really good things about them. I guess they are worth the money, aren't they? Is what I played the most, especially traveling. 3D TVs and game tech died so quickly. Yeah, I don't think they handled it well, and it came a bit too early. It was like 3D movies, and then they went, fuck yeah, let's bring the whole thing. Arkham Asylum is amazing anyway. But yeah, this was the mystery box, guys. So, as I said, we got an Atari game. I can't believe we got a fucking Atari game, dude. That's so random. Boxing. This is so cool. I'm actually ecstatic about this. This is, as I said, this is a mystery box that I just opened. It was 75 AUD, and then I paid delivery on top of it. And it had 5 to 10 random games, and it'll be more value than what I paid for. So there's a bunch of random stuff. I'm really ecstatic that he gave me one different game with everything in one. I literally will be buying another one of these for sure. This is so cool. I'm absolutely ecstatic about this. But we got boxing. We got an Xbox game called Still Life. I think this is, which is pretty cool. It's an Xbox game, original. Don't think this is an Australian edition of the game. Has the manual and the case in it. This is pretty cool. I was really ecstatic to see this first. I was not expecting an Xbox game. We are opening boxes. 3D tier, that works perfectly fine. Interesting. We then got Wii Play, which is a bit of a filler game, let's be honest. But I do love this game, and we don't have it, so I'm ecstatic about this. Our Wii still works, I believe. So I'm very, very happy about this. If not, I will buy another one at some point that will work. I would love to use it a bit more. But Wii Play is such an underrated game. I don't hear many people talk about it very often. Yeah, Wii still works. Awesome. 2 Point Hospital. I already have this game physically. Hang on, I'll go get my other copy of it real quick. Shit. Here it is. Sorry, guys. This is the special edition, jumbo edition of it. So it's a special edition. So I'm happy enough it's like a different type of version of the game. But obviously it's got like the reflection and the acrylic on it, which looks amazing. So sadly, this probably won't get shown on the shelf at all. But this is definitely an upgrade version of this original game. So I was a little bit shattered about getting that one again, but it's not the end of the world. 2 expansions? It does have the expansions, yeah. And this one has 4 instead of it. So this one is a little bit better. Sadly. What 3D movies in cinemas was elite? You didn't like 3D in cinema? But it's actually never experienced it, sadly. Or you never played it? You never got to see 3D movies? It's really big in Australia. Wii, another console I had a lot of fun with, except the Wii Sports Boxing fighting Matt. Oh, so good. Came with 3D glass you had to wear for work, so we used the disc on our PlayStation console at the time and watched some stupid Disney dance movies. Lol, must have been Step Up or something. Oh, true. Yeah, Step Up 3, I reckon it would have been. Step Up 3D. You know, when they were doing that with, like, the third movies. And all the third movies came out. And then we got Tron, again, on the DS, which is pretty sick. Pretty ecstatic about this. I did sound disappointed about it because I wanted this on the PS3. I was actually planning to buy this. This is pretty cool. I'm really ecstatic about a DS game. I haven't seen a DS game in ages, and it's in really good shape. Probably barely ever used, to be honest, but, you know, that's what you want. And then Gran Turismo 5, which I love this game, and it is the special edition of it. So I will display this most likely over my other GT5 copy, or actually I'll probably put this right next to my other GT5 copy because it's got the special editions on it, which I'm a very big fan of, and I love GT. This Platinum isn't possible anymore, I don't think, but I would actually be tempted. But what I was going to do is, if any games were possible to Platinum, I would do them. But sadly, I'm already going to do this at some point, and I don't think this is possible anymore, so we won't be able to do any Platinums, I'm afraid. And I won't do a testing at this stage because it is such a variety, but at some point I will do a testing of all of them, I think, and give it a go. Probably do like a 12, 18 hour stream and just go through everything. But yeah, these are all of the games. So I'll go through the values after anyway, but it's pretty good. Pretty happy with everything. Good variety. Like, they gave me a different platform for everything. A fucking Atari. I still can't get over the Atari. It's so weird. When the Alice Wonderland stand movie. Oh yeah, the Avatar. That's right. I forgot about that. I did watch that in 3D. Remember that? Everyone loved it in school. It was one of the earliest movies I ever watched 3D plus Spy Girls. Oh, Spy Kids, not Spy Girls. Watched the thing out with Shrek in 3D. Yeah, Shrek in 3D is another one. That was good. But yeah, I'm actually ecstatic about this. Like, they're just random games. They don't have to be amazing or anything. But, like, they do have a story behind them, like, for why I have them and, like, why they're a thing. And I like how different everything was. Like, none of them are even the same genre. So I really like this, what this person's done. So I'm definitely going to buy more of them from this person. No doubt in my mind, I'm definitely going to buy more because this is cool. I really am a big fan of it. I reckon I definitely hit my value, so I'm very happy with that. Right. So, as I said as well, we did open our normal games as well, if anyone did miss it again. So, as I said, we bought a bunch of random stuff and a lot of redeems. So, Shadow of Mordor was a game I want to do for a speed run. Monster Hunter Wilds was redeemed community by Blaze. 1111 Memories Retold is for the Alphabet Challenge. Final Fantasy 15 was a fake cover, which I'm shattered about. The Witcher 3 was supposed to be redeemed by John, but changed their mind. Scarlet Nexus was redeemed by Spicy for the Alphabet Challenge. Dragon Age Inquisition was redeemed by Hex. Chivalry 2 is something I just wanted. And Dragon Ball Z Burst Limit is one of my favorite games of all time, and that's why that's there. And Immortals Avon was also redeemed by Didge. There you go, Didge. So, cool. I'm very, very happy with that. With Dragon Ball Burst Limit, I don't really stream like fighting games very often or anything like that, but I might actually, before the Alphabet Challenge, might just beat this in one sitting. I think this is like 8 hours, this game. I love this game so much, we might just do it for the sake of it. I'm extremely happy with what I got, though, like, seriously, from the mystery box and stuff like that, so. But yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got 16 games, there you go. And as I said, so 65 and about 150, so about $200 worth of stuff there, and 16 different games as well. So I'm very, very, very happy with like all of that. But yeah, pretty cool. Thank you for everyone that came in to watch. I really don't know what the hell I'm doing, to be honest with you. I'm just planning to do this every once in a while. I'll basically stack up anything that has been redeemed. I'll order them. They'll sit in their boxes until the 15th of next month. I know it's the 14th today, but I cheated today because I was too excited. For the 15th of next month, I'll stack them all up. All of the games that I buy for redeems and any extras that I get. I plan to buy at least one PS3, one PS4, and one PS5 game. And as I said, I bought 2 PS3 games this time, which is Shadow Mordor and Dragon Ball Burst Limit. And then I bought 15, which was a fake cover, as I said. It's a fake cover art and not the right case either, which was a bit shattering. And Chivalry 2 was the other one that we bought as well. So those are the 3 games that I ended up buying. But I'll do that once a month just to keep it, I don't know, keep it interesting, do something different for stream. I love collecting games, and I plan to collect a lot more this year. To start a new hobby and start like pivoting my money in different directions rather than just on dumb stuff all the time. Because I'm really bad for that. But yeah, thank you all for watching. What a stack. Burst Limiter's Elite Def up there. Lack of Budokai. It's my favorite fighting game of all time, and I always forget about it. But it's my favorite fighting game of all time, and I love this so much. I've beaten it multiple times. It's the first game I ever beat on hard mode. It's what got me into Dragon Ball Z as well, or Dragon Ball in general. It's in really good shape too. This copy has never been used. The disc is so clean, it's not even funny. So I'm really ecstatic about this one. But yeah, I think we might do that at some point.